Hi everyone, welcome once again to the Big B and Little T channel. My name is Brian Ahern, known on this channel as the Big B. Always great to have you guys with us. As you can see from the title of this short vlog, we really did it. You might wonder, what in the heck am I talking about? Well, for several weeks, maybe several months, probably months more than weeks, Tina and I continue to talk about transition. What's the next adventure in our life when our work here at this ministry comes to an end? And I'll preface this by saying we don't have a specific date in mind. We don't think anything is imminent in the next several months, but we also recognize as we age and as we get older that we can't continue to do what we do at a high level forever. So we think that just like you should be thinking if you're aging like us into your 60s and beyond, we need to begin to think about what is next for us. We're not interested in, quote, retirement. We are not interested in just doing nothing. That's not healthy emotionally, physically, mentally, relationally. So it's more of determining what is next in terms of the journey of life, I suppose, the next adventure. So for the last several weeks, the last several months, we have been thinking, what would that look like? And we're not 100% certain, and I think that's something important to realize. That even as we age, much like when we were in our 20s, we weren't sure what we wanted to do and what career we wanted to choose. It's really not a lot different as we enter into our 60s. We're not certain exactly what we want to do. We might have some preferences, we might have some leanings, we might have some different kind of feelings about things, maybe things that we're pretty sure we're not going to do versus things that we are more likely to do. So one of the things that we have talked about doing is traveling. Now, when I talk about traveling, we're not talking about traveling across the world internationally. That's not really who we are. That's not really of interest to us, not only financially, but just kind of who we are. But we are interested in traveling, possibly across the United States, probably more west of Oklahoma than east of Oklahoma. But again, preferences, that can change certainly. But we're not interested so much at this point in just getting on a plane and flying to some location out west and spending a week somewhere and coming back. We really want to kind of experience what the West has to offer us. So we've been thinking about what would that look like. We originally looked at possibly getting a small camper that we could pull behind one of our vehicles, but because our vehicles aren't very large, we ended up having to look at a camper that was very, very, very small. It basically was just a camper to sleep in, and then we decided we just didn't want a camper because then you're forced to be in campsites and then you got to find a place to park it, and then you got to insure it, and it's just a lot of different things. So we kind of slowly moved away from that option. We didn't actually look, but we thought about like an RV or a Winnebago, and the more we looked at those, the more kind of the same kind of problem in terms of just a little too big for us, a little too cumbersome to navigate into some of the areas that we might want to. So we finally landed on looking at maybe what would be called a camper van, or I don't know, the vans that we convert and people live in. Now, we're not interested at all at this point in living in a van for the next 10 years, but we started to think about a van that would be that we could sleep in and that we could live in for several weeks, several months as we traveled, and then we could use it on the weekends after that. And we believe that it would give us the most freedom in terms of not always having to be at a campsite and driving, and maybe you're tired and you end up parking at a Walgreens, a parking lot, or whatever it may be. So we started to look at those, and the more we looked at those, the more we got frightened to death because they can be so expensive. I mean, and God bless people, but they can spend $100,000 to $150,000 sometimes on those vans, and we certainly can't afford that, but we also just don't think it's a good investment of our money. So we looked at two possibilities. One was to buy a van that was not converted at all on the inside, and then trying to hire that out, and or The other option was to buy one that was completely already done, and unfortunately, for the most part, both of those options were just too costly. I mean, we could buy a Ford Transit Connect van, kind of a cargo kind of van, but then you have to build it all out. And we looked at one online that was $40,000 just for the van, and not even for the conversion part, which again, some people find that really fun to do, and I'm not so sure I would find that fun to do. And even if it was fun to do, I don't really have the time to spend or the money to spend necessarily on converting it in, having a kitchen, having a bathroom and a little bedroom. So we kind of just, I don't want to say we gave up, but I just kept looking. I looked on different places, and I finally found on Facebook Marketplace, I found a couple that were selling theirs. It's a conversion van. It's about 30 years old, but it only had 150,000 miles. And these two ladies had actually traveled in this van from Oakland, California to Rhode Island and back to Oklahoma, and have taken several trips. Even in the last several months, they went to Taos. They lived in it for a week. It does not have that many miles on it because it came from California and there was someone who actually lived in it. So we went and looked at it, and it was within our price range of what we really wanted to spend on the next adventure. And it was already pretty much done on the inside, besides just some basic cleaning and you know, just some little maybe modifications here and there. You know, we were a little concerned about the engine and things like that, but the reality is, hasn't used any oil, has a brand new air conditioner, a brand new battery, it has new tires, new brakes, and solar power that you could live off grid if you wanted to. If you were at a Walgreens parking lot, you could just run, you know, and charge up your laptops, and all of that is already done. All of that brand new. So, you know, we kind of bit the bullet when we went to Tulsa. We drove it, and we were both amazed at how well it drove, how comfortable it drove on the highway, how well it got around, other than just being kind of big for us. So we came back kind of excited, really, you know, kind of, we were excited, a little bit apprehensive. Anytime you look at spending a few $1,000s on something that you might not even be using all that much over the next year or 18 months. But we decided to go ahead, we made an offer, made a counter offer, and we all came to an agreement. And we went yesterday and picked it up and drove it back. And we're super excited. I'm gonna show you a picture here of the van, but probably next week we'll shoot you a short video of the van inside and outside, which there isn't much to look at on the outside, but we decided that was okay. If you go to a place to park, no one's gonna give this van a second look in terms of what might be on the inside, because it's 30 years old. So super excited, we really did it. We really bit the bullet, and we're excited that it's going to be a part of the next adventure. And we have whatever, a year, 18 months as we start to transition away from the ministry to try it, to see if we like it. And if we don't, we just end up selling it. And that in itself is an adventure. Isn't that what life is all about? Hey, thanks so much for joining me. We look forward to sharing some of our van adventures with you. Well, we're going to get her named, and it's just going to be really exciting for you guys to be a part of that and learn as we learn about solar power and all the other things that go into a camper travel conversion van. All right? Give this video a like, give it a comment, and I promise you I'll comment back. You guys go out, make it a great day, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.